Sermon 95 of Nahjul Balagah reminds us that though it seems that people who have violated the rights of others have gotten away with things, they are not going to ultimately get away with things. In fact, in this world, by doing such, they have stifled themselves. And let us remember that might is not right. Well, that's an axiom that's not entirely literally true, because sometimes they coincide, but you know what I mean. And don't give counsel if things are going to turn towards deceit. The people present to a sermon are the ones who are getting guidance in regards to what is not present. And those who are in charge, if they are obeying God, well, then they are to be obeyed in their commands. And of course, they're also called to be fair, not just the lawful and the wholesome. People can be very perceptive, but some of these people will not, be guided by their perception. They won't take advantage of their perception. And there's something to be said for rising and sitting according to the actions of a judge or someone else like that. But as we find in what's narrated that Muhammad said, it's a horrible thing that you want people to do this. That you want people to rise and sit for your personality. And it mentions how some people put their cheeks on the ground. But, as we know, in our prayers, it's that spot that includes the nose and the forehead that is to be put on the ground. And eventually, one is going to be known by the marks of your performing the prayer. And let us not allow ourselves to fall behind. Saying 125 of Nahjul Balagah. We went over last time. Okay, so 126 reminds us that sometimes holding back in what we give, especially when it reaches a wrongful degree, like we're not paying our poor due, it can increase our ruin in that respect, through the mentality. And those who are proud, they were just sperm and an egg. And they're going to be a dead body. They're going to have a dead body. And so we see all this death around us, and we should be guided by that knowledge. Saying 127 reminds us that the thing worth grieving about is not doing as much as we should. And of course, this is connected to a moral sense. And God doesn't spare us from giving the opportunity for what we need to do the deeds that are actually required on us. And the people who do not spend in God's name, this is not something one can associate with God. Well, I mean, the misassociation is all that's not allowed, but you know what I mean. It's not something a person can blame on God. Like people talk, oh, the religious people. It's like, that's how they're not religious that you're complaining about. Being religious isn't you go to a particular building and, it's the relationship with everything. So, because people like to blame religion for people being bad at religion, it's like, well, that's their own deal. Saying 128 reminds us to guard against the changes of the seasons, but to become adjusted to it, and to regard the differences in the plants. And one of the things that happens if we don't do that, then illnesses can arise. It's important to sleep well and allow others to sleep well. But sometimes the people who are the best about their health, they still get sick. Like I went 16 years without getting a cold or flu, nothing. And the contagious sort at least. And then I was surprised. I was one of the people who got sick with something. And then I got sick again. And I got sick a couple other times when,